All right, another video. Any process in life, you're going to meet the people who will help you speed it up. I think this dives deeper into the whole you attract what you're engaging with. And that month I was inspired, by the way. But again, uh, I think that was the month where all I did was interview people and I was chasing after. It's funny because the previous video was about actively chasing something. So, uh, any process in life, you're going to meet the people who will help you speed it up. And I honestly consider this to be the truth because it's funny. First things first, I want us to notice that anytime you're thinking about something, you're considering something, you are compelled to open your mouth about it around people or use it in your actual conversation when you're talking to people. And that's why I believe the biggest skill anyone could ever have is properly communicate with themselves. And so you could actually create that communication structure with yourself by understanding the difference between the voice in your head and you. Or you can communicate with people and use that as feedback. But to be able to to properly communicate your thoughts allows you, whether you like it or not, to proceed. Because sometimes you establish something and then you go yeah, but that's not my vibe. And sometimes you establish something and you go okay, that's what I want to kind of consider differently. Or whether you like it or not, you're going to consider them differently and in different levels, in different layers. You're going to consider them in all of their aspects, simply because you really have to lack that self that conscious awareness of what's going on in your head for you to not be able to kind of get bored from the same conversation over and over again. And I'm sure we always meet people that are a bit repetitive. Funny enough, I noticed that everyone's repetitive in certain areas, and mostly because that's what they're used to kind of exposing to the world. But we all have those corners. I have a friend of mine who's super into machinery, man. And anytime I mention machinery on purpose, anytime I see him, because he just kind of lights up with energy. And even though most of his conversations have always just been, how are you? How's your family? How's everything else? Once we talk about machinery, his eyes are kind of all over the place. And he goes into lecture modes, he goes into question modes, he goes into Google searches while we're talking. It's super fun to be around that kind of that that state. Because I don't think that's energy anymore. It takes I think energy is either placed in putting something out or holding something in. Because our nature kind of is just overflowing. And I feel like we're conditioned in a way to be more in control, and I don't understand why. And that control is what kind of leads to nasty shit. It's just called nasty shit. So anyway, the idea is we are always moving the conversation forward through proper communication, whether with yourself or whether with your surroundings. And here, any process in life, you're going to meet the people who will help you speed it up. The truth behind it is your conversation is always going to change with people. And whether you like it or not, some people are going to reject you. And it's not because there's something wrong with you, it's just because they're not comfortable within the space that you're in. And that could be for many reasons. That could be because you're overbearing, or that could be because you're kind of you're talking about stuff they're not interested in, or that could be because like you look different than what they're used to, or it could just be the fact that they don't like themselves around you because again, like you're kind of like you're 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 overflowing with that vibe. You're not restricted by energy that's kind of like created by you or others. Just because something's flowing through you. And for other people, that kind of stirs up their insides because that's the stuff that they want to feel, but they're not comfortable with that feeling. They're not used to it. I genuinely believe, I genuinely trust that that's the core of it all. It's because like you're allowing something to overflow and you're trying to understand it. It's funny because like each one of us has their own perspective to life, so our thoughts flow in different patterns, and that's how they kind of like create that template of how things are going. But so it naturally means that that's going to be the natural filter of everything. And at times you find yourself with people not around you, and then you look at yourself with like, no, since people are not around me, I could either wallow in sadness or stick with this flowing of like concepts, thoughts, feelings, emotions, energy. Let them kind of like go out, explore them, understand them, and all these kinds of like. And eventually, you're gonna find yourself like sticking to yourself, and then you're gonna still be around people. You're still gonna leave your house for some fucking reason, or communicate through the internet for some reason, or eventually you're going to kind of like meet new people or engage with the same old people, but you're engaging with them differently. And then that they either like adjust to you or they kind of like push you back again, which makes you kind of because that energy is overflowing. It's kind of like trying to it is energy. It's not yours though. The energy is overflowing. Your energy either restricts it or directs it. And to be able to direct it is a bit it's arrogance from our side. It's really just our ego trying to personify itself as grandiose. Because the minute you decide this is why I like something, your feelings towards it are basically contained because you held it on to that one purpose. Right? Isn't that kind of like our thing? When you go like, why do you love doing this? Like the best answer is like, I have no fucking idea. Or every single day I find a new reason. Or like those are the things that you truly care about, or that you're truly what they call passionate about or ambitious towards. Like being able to overcome that challenge, right? Kind of like I have no idea what's going on, but I'm still into it, and then poof, it's gone, and then you're still into it, and then something else comes around, and then you kind of like are still into it. And it feels like by doing that, what we're doing is we're doing a filtration process, whether we like it or not. And it's always in our best interest to kind of like just make sure that, or make it a point that every single time we go through the motion when it comes to communicating. Because again, like I mentioned from the beginning, because you're allowing something to express itself through you. You're not expressing anything. You're allowing the energy of life, the cosmic energy that kind of makes us alive, whatever you want to call it. There's something other than like there's something that even when you don't eat, your heart beats. Electricity still runs through you. Like everything else supports this shit, right? When we eat, when we drink, the vitamins, they support our body. But you, that small bit of essence, the spark, the key that turns on the car, or the key keeps the car running. So there's that line of expression that's heightened or articulated properly. And as it articulates, it gives you a feedback loop, whether you're giving yourself feedback or whether you're getting feedback from life, people, the world, actions, activities. All of these are coming feeding back into the whole like how am I communicating and expressing? And it's the filtering process that removes everything from in front of you. I think that's what people call a learning curve. But the truth is, I don't think it's a learning curve because knowledge is innate. And you inherit knowledge. Your approach to discovering it is always conditioned by society, family, friends, and all that stuff. That can those are like limitations that are not. I don't know if they're consciously set or unconsciously set. But our form of elaborating on our knowledge and understanding is basically like how we express to the world and how we articulate our process. And effectively, as we're going through communicating where we are, basically, right? Like, any process in life, you're going to meet the people who will help you speed it up. And whether they help you to speed it up by positively like enhancing your knowledge around it or by basically showing you that they're not really interested, right? It's like one gives you an extra push and one eliminates wasted time. Either way, you're going to find these people. And I specifically said people because ultimately we kind of like float around concepts in this world until we kind of like have a strong enough grasp on something personal, which allows us to create our own game that others will play. Yep, it's a video. Love you guys.